Hello, Ado Church of God. Let's just go right back to First Chronicles 20, verse 4 through 8. I'm going to read it to you real quick because we were looking at it last week. It says, "Now it happened afterward that war broke out in Gezerah with the Philistines, at which time Shimeach, the Hushite, killed Sipia, who was one of the sons of the giant, and they were subdued." When you begin to look all the way down to verse number 8, you will see that there were several giants killed here, even one with 24 fingers and toes. And you'll see that these giants were overtaken. But they were overtaken by the servants of David. So on Friday, we looked at it takes one to know one. This is the law of reproduction of giant killers under the leadership of King David. So it takes one to know one is the first law. What we possess ourselves will determine if we're real giant killers. Just because daddy did it doesn't mean that we're going to do it, but we can follow the pattern of dad. We can follow the pattern of mom. We can follow the pattern of a leader and develop and pull out of us what was there all the time. So let's go to number 2. It says, it takes one to show one. We cannot model for someone what we haven't done. And what that simply means is it's hard to tell somebody to do something if you're not doing it yourself. It's hard to say quit cussing and you're cussing. It's hard to say don't drink if you're drinking. It's hard to say quit lying if you're lying. It takes one to know one. It also, and number 2, it says it takes one to show one. So if you want to be an example, you've got to be an example. If you want to be a leader, you have to be a leader. You can't say I'm going to lead, but yet do the opposite of a leader. You can't be a boss and be late for work. You can't, because how can you expect everybody else to be on time if you're not showing them what you're supposed to be doing? Then number 3, if you're going to be a giant killer, the first one, it takes one to know one. The second one, it takes one to show one. And then the third one, and this is pretty powerful, it takes one to grow one. We cannot train someone until we've done it ourselves. In ministry, growing up in ministry and being in ministry now for going on 30 years, I've been through some things that has allowed me to help people. When I was coming up as a child, my mom and dad both went through several divorces. My dad was divorced 5 times. My mom was divorced 5 times. So that puts me going through 10 different divorces in my life. Well, I watched my mom struggle. I watched my dad struggle. I literally used to pack a box because I didn't know how long we were going to be in this family or in this house. And it was a struggle for me. And I watched how my family struggled through brokenness. But when I was saved by the grace of God, when I was saved by the mercy of God, and when Kimmy and I got married, I told my wife, I said, this is forever. And I said, I'm going to be an example for Cody Way, for Quincy Way, for Kaylee Way, for my grandson Caden, for my grandson Jay. I'm going to be an example for everybody to say, you can make it. And so in other words, I was doing the same law and not even really killing giants, but I was killing a giant that my mom and dad brought into our family. And some calls it a generational curse. I wanted that curse broken in my family. So it takes one to know one. It takes one to show one, but it takes one to grow one. So I've done everything in my power to be an example. My wife's done everything in her power to be an example, to show our kids that marriage is tough sometimes. Being a mom and a dad is tough sometimes, because every time you turn around, another giant comes into the family. Another giant steps out in front of you. But if you stand up to the giant in the name of Jesus Christ, if you want to overcome a giant, it's got to be through the power of the God who we serve and who we believe and who we trust in. And so I say to you one more time, it takes one to know one. It takes one to show one. It takes one to grow one. We cannot train someone until we've done it ourselves. So if you're trying to help someone be a Christian, the number one thing you've got to do is you've got to be a Christian. So you've got to walk it. Don't talk it if you're not walking it, because people are watching your walk. God bless you. Be a giant killer. We love you.